I've started digging the ditch now, so this is just a short record of where I'm up to, just with the first ditch. I'm doing this using terraforming tools in Kitely, but I'm really quite pleased with this. It's looking the way I wanted to start it to get it to start looking, and so there's chalk mostly, but then pretty soon the grass grows on the chalk. In any case, um, so you can see that I'll show you in a minute how I actually do that with the tools, but you can see that gradually I'm just cutting my way around this ditch. One of the things that it does demonstrate, and I'm sitting here with a cup of coffee in front of my computer doing this and just moving my finger basically to dig the ditch, but when you see something like this chalk wall in front of you, and you realise that the people who dug Avebury Henge and all the other henges in the British Isles for real had deer antlers and the shoulder blades of large cattle, and that was it. That was all they had. That and the muscles on their back. The sheer size of this, the enormity of this kind of work, really starts to become very clear. But thankfully, I don't have to do that. What I have to do in here is use a series of what are called build tools. So for this, for terraforming, I want the land tools. And you can see here that if I now move the cursor over, I've got a little bulldozer, and I can do a number of different things with that bulldozer. At the minute, I've got lower checked. So that means that wherever I go over and move the bulldozer over, the land will lower. So I can start to cut my way through this chalk wall, start to flatten it. As I do that, because of the way the textures have been set on the land land becomes more chalky the more I dig down. So I've got grass on the top, but you see as I dig it down, it turns into more chalk. Not altogether chalk, which is just as well. I think that grass grows pretty quickly on this. So at the time they were digging the henge, then probably within 3 or 4 years, a great deal of it would have been grassed over anyway. So you can see the basic principle. I basically have to chop my way through this wall by doing this terraforming. I can also do things like smooth the floor of the ditch. So if I just click over here, it sort of flattens things out a little bit, makes it a bit neater and tidier, raises things very slightly. So if I need to dig back in again to make sure that the walls stay pretty sheer as they were at the time, they were dug down almost vertically, and I can just lower that down again. You'll see if I go down too far, I start to get a hole with some water in it. That's because the textures are set in virtual worlds like this at various layers. I've got the water set as low as I can get on this sim, so I can dig down quite a long way, as you can see, and not hit water. But if I go down a little bit more, I get nice little ponds and puddles, and I think I'm going to have a few of those. I think that's probably quite realistic for how it was at the time it was dug. So that's the ditch as it stands at the moment. And once I've finished the ditch, I'll then start building the bank, and I'll make another video then.